Coming up next, he has over 1,200 songwriting credits and has played on more than 700 recordings dating back to 1972. Yet for years, nobody knew his name outside of a recording studio. But that all changed in 1975 when he joined one of the biggest rock bands of the decade. After releasing 4 platinum albums, the band disbanded, and then one of the most recognizable voices of the rock era went solo. In this episode, we jump into the story of the song that kicked off his solo career with a bang, the best bass lines ever. It later became a huge crossover hit thanks to a rapper who stumbled upon a stack of vinyl from a street peddler outside Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in Hollywood. When he sampled this guy's song, not only did it go to #1, but even people who hated rap love this song. It's a great one. Coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies. Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you doused your friend with Disappearing Ink growing up, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the big red button and click the notification bell so you know when our latest interviews are coming. We have some good ones. You're going to be excited. Also, check us out on Patreon. You know, given his humble nature, Michael McDonald, McD, would likely shy away from such lofty praise, but there's no denying it. He's one of the finest vocalists to emerge from the rock era, no question. Despite his unassuming nature and modest approach to fame, his voice has graced over 750 recorded tracks across a career that's quietly spanned more than 50 years. After spending the first decade of his career in the background, Michael McDonald finally saw his name in the spotlight on a 45 and had delivered every bit the soulful excellence that had defined his work with groups and as a guest artist. It was his debut single as a solo artist, I Keep Forgetting Every Time You're Near, in 1982. I mean, with a bass line that cold cocked you and a voice that lifted you off the mat after the bass, uppercut you. It became an instant classic. I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. Going back to the beginning, Michael's first performance credit was in 1972, when he sang background vocals on John Hurley's bluesy rock album, John Hurley Delivers One More Hallelujah. Then a few years later, Michael got the call that put him on the path to greatness. It's when Donald Fagen and Walter Becker invited him to join the traveling band for Steely Dan in 1973. When he got that call, he packed virtually everything he had into a beat-up old Ford Pinto. He drove to L.A. Things went so well on the road that Fagen and Becker hired Michael to sing on their album Katy Lied in 1975. He had such a knockout voice that any band that he sang backgrounds for, everyone was secretly wanting to sing lead. He would get his chance soon enough. This is when the Doobie Brothers came knocking. As the Doobie Brothers embarked on their spring 1975 tour to promote Stampede, lead singer Tom Johnson's health took a severe turn. It landed him in the hospital with a bleeding ulcer. Tom Johnson unable to perform the tour already in motion, Doobie guitarist Jeff "Skunk" Baxter suggested bringing in a former Steely Dan colleague, Michael McDonald, to fill in the void. Of course, Skunk had worked with Michael as one of the hired session players for the Dan. Michael McDonald, along with Pat Simmons and Keith Knudsen and Tyrone Porter, he took over Johnson's vocal duties on the road while Simmons and Baxter shared the lead guitar work. By 1976, the Doobie Brothers found themselves at a turning point. They were under contract to release another album, but their main songwriter and vocalist was still out of commission. Of course, they had the pressure of the record label, so the band looked to Michael McDonald and Tyrone Porter to step up with new material to fill the gap alongside Tom Johnston. The results were phenomenal. Taking It to the Streets, a record that marked a significant shift in the Doobies sound. Gone were the days of the electric guitar-driven rock and roll. In their place was a smoother, more soulful vibe, highlighted by keyboards, horns, and subtler syncopated rhythms. Baxter's guitar work brought a jazz influence that added depth and complexity to the songs. while Mick D's distinct voice became the defining element of this new era for the band. During his time with the Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, he took the lead on some of the band's most iconic tracks, classics like Real Love, Taking It to the Streets, Little Darling, I Need You. It Keeps You Running, Minute by Minute, and of course the chart-topping hit What a Fool Believes. That track became a #1 single in the US and earned Michael McDonald the 1980 Grammy Award for Song of the Year, which he shared with co-writer Kenny Loggins. We've covered that song before. Now, while Mick D was making waves with the Doobies, he also became a sought-after session vocalist and keyboardist, collaborating with a wide range of artists. I mean, Christopher Cross, Stephen Bishop, Jack Jones, Bonnie Raitt, Toto, Kenny Loggins, so many more. This guy was a superstar. Every time he was featured as a background vocalist in these songs, he enhanced the track. And I would argue it made a 10 to 15 point improvement on their chart position had he not been on the song. In addition, he co-wrote You Belong to Me with Carly Simon, which featured on the Doobie Brothers' 1977 album Living on the Fault Line. You belong to me. Tell her you a fool. You belong to me. Even before the recording of the One Step Closer album, the Doobies with Michael McDonald at the forefront were gradually imploding. In an interview, Michael shared that even though the Minute by Minute album had sold over 3 million copies and he and the Doobie Brothers won 4 Grammy Awards for What a Fool Believes, he'd never been so miserable in his life. I mean, years of nonstop touring, Tom Johnson's departure, and creative artistic differences were all big factors that led to the eventual breakup of the Doobies. But Michael's growing unhappiness, it made it inevitable. So back to Mick D. At what was thought to be their final show on September 11th, 1982 at the Greek Theater in Berkeley, California, Doobie Brothers pulled out all the stops. Founding members Tom Johnson joined them on stage for a memorable performance of his classic hit, China Grove. And then the night continued with former members Porter, Hasek, and Hartman. They stepped back into the spotlight for an extended jam of Listen to the Music, featuring Knudsen on lead vocals and Johnston, Simmons, and McPhee trading guitar licks. The concert was captured on the live album Farewell Tour, released in 1983, and later on Live at the Greek Theater, 1982, which came out in 2011, allowing fans to relive that iconic night. The disbanding of the Doobie Brothers gave Michael McDonald new life as a vocalist, also as a lyricist and as a pop icon. I mean, I'm sure you would blush at the pop icon label, but it's straight up honesty. Michael's solo course got off to a blazing start. I mean, his first solo single, I Keep Forgetting Every Time You're Near, from his debut album, That's What It Takes, that was a runaway hit. It peaked at #4 on the Billboard Hot 100, went to #8 on the Adult Contemporary chart, and with his soulful arrangement, it even made it to #7 on the R&B chart in 1982. A lot of people don't realize I Keep Forgetting was a Michael McDonald writing collaboration with Ed Samford. You may remember Ed Samford from the Samford Townsend Band. They had a #9 hit in 1979 with Smoke from a Distant Fire, a yacht rock classic for sure. I Keep Forgetting has roots in a 1962 song of the same name, penned by the iconic songwriting duo Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. It was first recorded by R&B singer Chuck Jackson. That version made it to #55 on the US charts, although the single didn't make it onto the R&B charts. This song is frequently noted as one of Lieber and Stoller's most innovative, yet commercially underwhelming works. I keep forgetting you don't want me no more. Now, McDonald and Samford constructed the song around the Chuck Jackson tune. Even though that was their inspiration, their version isn't exactly a cover. Actually, it has different lyrics in a new arrangement, but it shares the song title and borrows the vocal melody and the concept for how the chorus was kind of structured. In Jackson's original, the line is, "I keep forgetting you don't love me no more." Michael McDonald's version, slightly different. It's grammatically correct. It says, "I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore." Both songs feature the singers listing things they keep forgetting as they deal with the end of a once deep relationship. Scorching song. Both of them are great. Jackson's version, produced by Lieber and Stoller, featured their signature style that they developed with the coasters. It had timbales, a tuba, and a mallet instrument. Jackson's vocals are sharp and emphatic, whereas Michael McDonald's rendition is, of course, smooth, right? Smoother, more fluid delivery. I keep forgetting you don't love me no more. I keep forgetting how you made that so clear. Since Michael McDonald's song was very similar to the Chuck Jackson track, the song's original writers, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, were eventually credited as songwriters, along with McDonald and Sanford on that creation. Streaming services like Spotify typically list all four, McDonald, Sanford, Lieber, and Stoller, as credited writers. It's kind of interesting how that came together. Mike Stoller disclosed that a deal was arranged before Michael's song was officially released as a single. So Michael McDonald's experience with Steely Dan left him with a strong sense of perfectionism in the studio, right? It shaped his approach to crafting his solo debut. Steely Dan's leaders, Fagen and Becker, were known for their uncompromising standards, always aiming to create state-of-the-art records. That, of course, rubbed off on Michael McDonald. Inspired by that philosophy, Michael and his producers, Ted Templeman and Lenny Waronker, they brought in top-notch studio musicians for the album. We've talked about him before on Professor of Rock many times. You have Greg Fillinganes playing clavinet, Steve Lukather, Luke, handled the lead guitar, and Jet Porcaro, also from Toto, was on drums. Another shrewd enlistment to the recording team was Thunder Thumb's Louis Johnson from the Brothers Johnson, laying down that incredible bass riff, one of the best of the 80s. Michael McDonald was raised in a musical family in suburban St. Louis, Missouri. His father had a beautiful singing voice, and his sisters, Kathy and Maureen McDonald, were also studio musicians that frequently sang with their brother. Maureen performed the backup vocals on I Keep Forgetting. I Keep Forgetting Every Time You're Near had a huge renaissance after it was a number 4 hit in the early 80s. It had a hip-hop transformation. So the story picks up outside a fast food restaurant in Hollywood, California in 1993. Warren Griffin III, better known by his stage name Warren G, was grabbing a bite at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in Hollywood. Great place. He came across a vagrant selling vinyl records on the street. Feeling a little bit charitable, Warren bought a stack of records from the man for a little over $200. Among them was Michael McDonald's I Keep Forgetting, a song he remembered from his stepmother and father's get-togethers while growing up in North Long Beach. Warren decided to sample a 4-bar loop from the track for his crossover smash, Regulate. Honestly, probably my favorite rap song of all time. Now they dropping and yelling, it's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate. As a kid, Warren was a big fan of the song. When he started making music, he knew that he wanted to sample it. He would say in an interview with BuzzFeed later on, and I quote, "I wanted to try something fresh, not just the usual hip hop. I thought, why not take a song that I've loved from back then and give it a hip hop twist?" Back then, Warren wasn't living the high life. He was living in a rundown apartment with no furniture and dog crap on the floor, right by Long Beach Boulevard and San Antonio Drive in the LBC. His setup was pretty makeshift, recording gear in the bedroom and a vocal booth in the bathroom and closet. Just hit the east side of the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr. Warren G. So while watching the movie Young Guns, Warren was struck by the line, "Regulators, we regulate any stealing of this property and we're damn good too." He loved the word regulate, which he and his crew often use. So he and his engineer, a guy named Greg Gutzenauer, they decided to sample it. They rented the film on VHS and recorded the sample using ADATs. a new VHS-based digital recording tech that was budget-friendly at that time. Of course, it did help that he was related to Dr. Dre, but it doesn't take away that this song is stellar.
If you know what I mean, earn your keep.
Regulators! Warren used his label Advance to set up a home studio rig, buying a multi-track setup. Geitzenauer hit up Guitar Center for a console, mic preamp, speaker monitors, and all the necessary gear to get it down. They hooked up the ADAT and VCR with a 1/4-inch to RCA adapters into the MPC 60 sequencer to get that sample recorded for the intro of Regulate.
Regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good, too.
Regulate plays a central role in episode 7 of the series Yacht Rock. You got to see this. It's on YouTube. The episode reimagines how Warren G and Nate Dogg came to sample the song. The episode even takes its name from the song, adding a fun twist to its backstory. Of course, a great parody. I love that show. I'll link to it below.
What everybody's saying.
Michael McDonald's I Keep Forgetting has been a go-to sample for various artists over the years. Jada Kiss sampled it on Kiss's Spittin'. Young MC gave it a nod with Love You Slow from his album What's the Flavor. Dave Hollister covered the song as Keep Forgetting on his album Ghetto Hymns. Moloko incorporated the chorus into an acoustic mix of their 2003 hit Familiar Feeling. And Poolside sampled the bass line in their track Next to You. Julia Fordham teamed up with McDonald for a duet on her 2008 album China Blue, and in 2011, DJ Solomon. He sampled it on Love Recycled. Even Laura Jane Grace of Against Me performed a version for the AV Undercover series in April of 2015. But you know what? It was Warren G's iconic use of I Keep Forgetting that was the most famous for sure. Regulate by Warren G featuring Nate Dogg was a pop culture phenomenon in the 90s.
Got the freaks, and that's a known fact. Before I got jacked, I was on the same track.
The single busted into the top 10 in like 17 countries. It rose to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 here, and it went to number 1 on the Hot Rap chart in 94. It was also the number 1 most played video on MTV throughout the summer of 94.
Back up, cause it's on N-A-T-E and me, the Warren to the G.
During the music video shoot, Warren G actually missed most of it after a weird mishap at a gas station. Actually drove off with the gas pump hose still attached, which led to a police stop and then an arrest for outstanding warrants. Fortunately, he was released from jail later that evening and was able to participate. Regulate became a hip-hop classic with a compelling street narrative of robbery and retribution. Such a great song.
G-Funk, where rhythm is life and life is rhythm.
It demonstrates how melodic songs from the past can be reimagined and transformed into universally renowned music. Truly, it's one of my favorite songs of the 90s. It had such crossover appeal. Even the rock guys, the metal guys who swore off rap and hip hop loved this song. Warren G scored 2 Grammy nominations from it. This DJ was up for Best Rap Solo Performance at the 1995 Grammys, while Regulate earned a nod for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. Additionally, his album was nominated for Best Rap Album at the 1995 Soul Train Music Awards.
A clear white moon, Warren G was on the streets trying to consume some skirts for the...
Michael McDonald, man, the undisputed co-captain of Yacht Rock, along with frequent collaborator Kenny Loggins. You got to give both the title. He continued to collaborate with a variety of artists as a highly sought-after vocalist. He had a multi-format hit with the late James Ingram in 1983 with Yamo Be There. What a great song. That rose to number 5 on the R&B chart, number 10 at Adult Contemporary, and number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100. Of course, he and Patti LaBelle teamed up for the chart-topping duet On My Own in 1986. And Michael scored another top 10 hit with Sweet Freedom. That one climbed to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. One of my favorites of the 80s for sure. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to cover any of these in the future. After the COVID pandemic, Michael McDonald got back together with Pat Simmons and Tom Johnson for the Doobie Brothers 50th anniversary tour, and Michael released What a Fool Believes, a memoir in 2024, written with his friend, comedian Paul Reiser. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. Of all the artists that have put out music in my lifetime, I feel like Michael McDonald He's been one of the constant voices in the soundtrack of my life. His vocals with Steely Dan as the frontman for the Doobies. I mean, his solo material and all those great songs that he sang background on and collaborated with other artists. Rarely does a day go by where I don't listen to at least one song that features his unmistakable, richly soulful baritone that transitions ever so smoothly from chesty grit to blue-eyed tenderness. He's one of a kind. It's what makes Michael McDonald one of the greatest vocalists of the rock era. He's just so smooth. Leave us a comment about this song. Man, the bass line, I keep forgetting, truly one of the best of the 80s, if not all time. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your memories are of Michael McDonald, I keep forgetting, or Regulate. What do you think of this song? Again, even people that hate rap, they love this song. It's just a classic. Let us know what you think. Let's have a great discussion honoring one of the greatest voices of our time. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Talk to you soon.